All right, let's bring you this discussion now. Motorists are feeling the pressure at the pumps. Petrol is now up by R1.71 a litre, diesel with a rise of R2.84. Now, the Mineral Resources and Energy Department says the weaker rand-dollar exchange rate contributed to these hefty increases. Let's unpack the story further this morning. We're joined by the CEO of the Fuel Retailers Association, Reggie Sibiya. It's great to have you with us on the program. We know that our fuel costs are determined largely by international oil costs and, as I've just said, the rand exchange rate as well. But, Reggie, what are we doing, or perhaps what are we not doing enough of here to try and mitigate those kind of impacts?
Good morning. Let me first start by saying, what we are doing. Like today, this is the beginning of one of our biggest events in our calendar for the Fuel Retailers Association. We are having a 2-day conference in Newzroom, and we are having all the industry stakeholders, including the government, joining us. To really have, robust discussions and deliberations as to how do we actually navigate through this changing landscape, which is the theme of our conference. Because as leaders, we have to realize that the landscape has changed and it's not going back, it's actually going forward. So we need to look at how we can actually mitigate, firstly for the businesses themselves, which are really hard hit by these fuel increases, and also with the issues of under-recovering margins. So how do we balance the act? Because there is a need for the motorists to be taken care of in terms of the hardships that they are also facing, but there is also the need for sustainability of the businesses to see how those can be taken care of. So we're having those deliberations to look at, what are the better ways, especially for service stations moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, it's not just for motorists, Reggie. It's for businesses, as you said. It's for the price of food. What we're paying for food at the end of the day also being impacted by how much we pay for fuel, right? I want to get to the issue of load shedding in just a moment. But what might these steps be that could be on the cards to try and help mitigate the pressure on consumers? Previously, we've talked about perhaps looking at how we calculate the road accident fund contribution. Is that high up on those perhaps lists of measures we could be taking?
So we will be focusing only what is under our control, as the industry players. Obviously, we are having the government representatives there as well, and we are expecting some form of commentary. And we will leave that to them because obviously we will be unpacking also all the elements that actually currently, populate the pump price. I mean, if you look at the current price, the retail margin only is 7% of the total pump price. You've got things like basic fuel price, the BFP contributing close to 60%. So we will be deliberating as well. And what we've been asking here, and I have to emphasize this, for the past 2 or 3 years, we have been asking that the government, the Department of Minerals and Energy, must come and do a proper investigation on the margins so that there is comfort on the motorists. Because right now, there's a lot of sentiments and narrative which is not factual. When you deal with a regulatory environment, especially when it comes to regulatory pricing, it is very important that the government must do a proper investigation on the margins so that the motorists have got the comfort that these expenses and costs are not actually exaggerated. We have been asking the department, and they've told us that they are still looking for a budget. I mean, it's now almost 2 years. We are waiting for a budget. And we are saying if this is important enough for the government and is important enough for the motorists, the government must actually cough up the money. We need a budget to do the regulatory accounting review for the pricing across the value chain. All stakeholders are waiting for that. So it's not us, stakeholders, who are actually holding back the process. we are saying to government, we are ready. Come with the money, come and commission a study. Because we cannot commission our own study as much as we like.
Right.
We can do our own studies. Yeah, but we need the government to come and actually put the money, review the margins, so that we can bring comfort to the motorists that the margins are not actually exaggerated or inflated in the process.
Yeah, and obviously there are measures that you as the Fuel Retailers Association could push for. It may not be in your purview to try and change certain things, but certainly you could recommend to government what they should be focusing on. And an urgent review, as you say, is one of those steps. Yeah.
It is one of those steps. And also, we are looking also into, the issues of renewable energies. That's what also we'll be talking about. Is focusing in investing on solar panels. And that obviously will help also with the issues of the diesel cost, which are just skyrocketing at the moment, and they are not even covered in the margin. There's a huge under-recoveries because of load shedding and the diesel cost. I mean, some retailers are spending close to 100,000 a month, and that is a huge amount of cost for a retailer. So we are also looking at the solutions long term. As I say, we are future looking, and we're looking also in the convenience part of our businesses to see how we can supplement and cushion, these petrol prices when our motorist comes to our forecourts. What else can we offer, to try and mitigate? Because at the end of the day, when you come to a service station, you are not only spending on fuel. The research is telling us that, the convenience side is also growing, food service growing. So there's a lot of other things that we are deliberating over the next 2 days to see how we can actually shape the whole offering to assist the motorist, when they leave the service station, that they get a better value for their money.
Yeah, and I think important to bring you back on, Reggie, once this 2-day summit has concluded, to take a look at what's come out of it. I don't want to give our motorists and our consumers false hope, but, if we were to see change in the sector, how long could that take to implement? Just as a parting shot from you.
We're already on the way to the future with convenience retailing. We are already doing some of these interventions. I am happy to come and deliver them after the conference, but it's very exciting. We are actually doing it as we speak on. Is that really how we accelerate them going forward?
Reggie Sibiya, let me thank you for your time this morning. The CEO at the Fuel Retailers Association. Of course, the next 2 days' discussions between industry players and government are going to be incredibly important, especially in the wake of those fuel price hikes.